All right.
A little spur of the moment.
Hey, we are live and in color. Okay. Let's start things off slow and simple. I saw this week's hearings, and they didn't seem to add anything that we didn't already know. At least to me.
Added a whole lot for me.
At least to me. I mean, we knew that Trump was a sleazebag. We knew that he was watching it, and we knew that he wasn't doing dick about it.
Well, no, this is the proof of that. We only assumed that before. We didn't really know for sure. A lot of it was hearsay. Nothing was confirmed with a fact behind it, or many witnesses, or corroborating information. So yeah, that makes it maybe, but there's still more things. That's how the things were presented, and how people were just doing every single thing. Well, maybe not every single thing they could, but at least in their minds, they were doing a lot to try to curb this somewhere else. They clearly didn't do enough.
Now, I understand, and you're more on top of this than I am for this week because I've been scatterbrained.
Yeah, I mean, only up to that. I've been kind of busy myself this week, so I might be a little behind as well.
The FBI is under criminal investigation, or will be, because of missing texts from January 6th. Yeah,
they at least should be probed. Or investigated for that. That's kind of convenient that only those are missing.
What I find convenient
it's a little too neat.
Is me, I check up on Fox every once in a while to see what kind of shit they're trying to stir. And they haven't mentioned these emails or these texts once, but yet the emails were every day. What about Hillary's emails? What about Hillary's emails?
Right.
What about Hillary's emails? Now that this is missing,
we won't. That's
now these texts
just a couple emails, 5, whatever, text messages.
Yeah,
they sent one. They sent one text.
Oh, they
message.
did.
One, yes. I don't know what that one was, and who knows? It could have been talking about the fart they let out in the cafeteria.
Now, I don't know if this is rumor or if this is someone with personal knowledge. But from what I gathered, I saw one little snippet of news that said a former FBI agent or representative said the reason why the text disappeared was because it had evidence of not only wrongdoings by the FBI, but also extramarital affairs that they were communicating about back and forth.
Yeah, which is why would you do that on a company anything? That's or why that day, January 6th, seeing what was unfolding in front of you, knowing that you're witnessing history, unfold. They knew that. They're smart enough. They've been around enough to know, huh?
Secret Service?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. And the sad thing is, in the past, in the early 2000s, I worked with the Secret Service for a short time in the capacity of my other job, and everything seemed legit from the people that I worked with. I have yet to have seen the type of attitude that they're talking about where these Secret Service people, because they work with the president, feel that they're above the law and they can do anything. I personally didn't see it back when in the early 2000s, but I'm not saying that things haven't changed or that I just, didn't have the opportunity to see it. Mm-hmm. But I would think that, and I don't know how it works because I didn't get into the details, but I would think that Biden coming in, couldn't he just clean house and hire all, have someone hire all new Secret Service, or transfer them outward and bring in other foreign Secret Service agents?
I don't know if that's possible, but I mean, I don't see why not, especially if he had some kind of reason. Because from what I understood, Trump kept Secret Service people that were loyal to him close to him.
Right.
So yeah. And there's a few weird things that happened with one of the Secret Service guys where they they made their career political somehow, and then went back into the Secret Service, and that's usually because the Secret Service is supposed to be politically neutral,
right? Because it's supposed to be able to serve all parties.
Regardless. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would assume that would be the same as any investigations that needed to happen as well. You know, if you're investigating a president that you don't really care for.
Yeah, there's got to be checks and balances.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. Unbiased.
Steve Bannon. Was convicted.
Yeah, found guilty.
For ignoring the subpoena from Congress.
Yeah, both subpoenas. Two counts.
And when he came out, he said that something to the effect of, they quoted him as being loyal to Trump. They didn't finish. He had said he was loyal to Trump and loyal to the Constitution.
Yeah.
Which he never said. But that's...
Well, that depends whose Constitution you're looking at.
What
obviously not ours.
And Trump's lawyer, Mayor Rudy Giuliani, lost his bid.
Oh, he did? His bid?
Yeah, apparently he had petitioned the court to be removed from some sort of investigation, and they said, yeah, that's not going to happen.
Oh, you're talking about the special grand jury in Atlanta. Both him and Lindsay have to appear. The judge said, "Hell, bullshit! You guys are appearing." So yeah, they can't ditch those subpoenas. They have to go. This is not a congressional subpoena they're talking about. This is an actual, I mean, they're both subpoenas, but this is different. This is a different type of. It's not like they're going against the committee. This is a different thing. This is district attorney general, whichever of Georgia. They have to comply.
Don't worry, because Mike Lindell says he's got all brand new information and evidence that's going to come out when he gets his cyber people on it for 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, I noticed his lack of enthusiasm in that announcement as well. Just saying.
Oh,
I got something again. Yay.
You know why? You know why he wasn't as enthused this time? Because he knows it's bullshit too. He was so tired because he's now coming out with a coffee line because he can't make ends meet with his pillows.
Yeah, because they're chomping him out. He's getting pushed out of his own company.
So he's coming out with coffee now. The thing that keeps people off his pillows.
Right? Why not? Right?
So all of Trump's little men around him are falling.
Yep.
And apparently, from this last hearing, it was established that Mitch McConnell got a hold of the Secretary of Defense during the January 6th uprising and asked them to clear the building so that they could get back to the people's business.
Right.
And Trump called him pretty much a sleazebag and what do you say? He was unloyal, an unloyal sleazebag. Well,
okay.
Question is, who was he being loyal to? Trump or the Constitution?
Well, if he doesn't care about the Constitution, so
Trump
he give a shit about it. He doesn't even know what the Constitution says. He's probably only looked at the cover once, maybe, because it's at the White House someplace.
Oh, you're talking about Trump?
No, Trump. Yeah.
Yeah, Trump called McConnell unloyal or disloyal. A disloyal.
Well, he had already said that. With the same day or the next day of either the January 6th itself or the 7th. McConnell had said that in Senate hearing. So
yeah, he said what? He said that Trump called him disloyal?
Whatever, sure.
Because I know Trump put it out this week on his Truth Social or whatever that Mitch McConnell was a disloyal sleazebag.
Yeah, he's been not happy with McConnell for a while anyway. Because McConnell won't do certain things.
And that McConnell was nobody and would never have won his election if it wasn't for him coming to the White House and begging Trump to endorse him. So that
and McConnell would say, you know what? I don't really give a shit how I'm here. I'm here. Yeah, he owes loyalty to his donors, and that's it, period.
Well, so somebody pointed out to me that without Trump, McConnell was head and shoulders above, and there was no way he was going to lose his seat.
Right.
So for him to go to Trump doesn't make sense.
Right. No, it doesn't make sense. He would have made it on his own anyway. He's got people much higher than Trump handling him. You know? Yeah, he's got handlers, I'm sure.
I don't like Lindsey Graham. I don't like Mitch McConnell. I don't like Mitch McConnell,
no,
specifically
not at all.
Because he actually had the balls to come out and say, yeah, our job is not to work. Our job is to block the president at every chance we can.
Yep.
And it's like, dude.
And he accepted the Grim Reaper title, where he was killing everything. Anything that came up to him, it was shooting it down. And that was when he was speaker or leader of the Senate.
Majority leader?
Senate majority leader, yeah. And he was saying stuff like that. That's when he got the nickname the Reaper, because he was killing everything. He's a pro at using that filibuster. He can use that filibuster, man.
Can't we bring back the old filibuster?
That's what I think they're trying to do, but yeah, no, we got Manchin and Sinema that won't budge. We don't have majority. We have a kind of majority sometimes.
Apparently, Manchin's under investigation right now.
I'm not surprised.
He has a vacation house in Wyoming or Montana, one of those two states that nobody lives in. And he went and appropriated $7 million from Congress to preserve national forests, wetlands, and so forth. But
around his property.
Only the ones around his house. One of the things was to rebuild and refurbish a tourist center that's less than a mile from his house.
Wow. Yeah. That's crazy. I didn't know that. I'm not surprised. Yeah. Really, I'm not. And I probably looked at it, but yeah. He drives around in Maserati. What do you expect?
So now, the people can't say, well, you're only investigating Republicans. No. No.
Right.
And you know what's weird is you hear a lot about Manchin. You hardly hear about Sinema.
Not these days, no.
She's like walking around them outside of the group, screwing things up every once in a while, and then back outside the group again.
Yep.
You know? And I hate to say it, but that's the smart thing to do.
Well, yeah, especially when the heat's on Manchin, but I'm not sure if she's going to win her next up. I don't know. People in Arizona are not happy about her. Not at all. You know, she went in as a Democrat, I believe. Manchin went in as an independent, didn't he?
Oh, I
think he did. Yeah. Or either that or they both are. To be honest with you, I don't 100% remember. I think Sinema's a Democrat, and I'm pretty sure that Manchin's an independent, but whatever. I'm guessing at this point. I don't know.
Right.
But irregardless, they're not counting toward our majority because they're voting another way. You know, but Sinema didn't lead on that, and she wasn't always like that. You know, something happened, something changed. She should be a Republican. They both should be. You know, they don't need to be Democrats. You know, they should get kicked out.
Democrat.
He is. You just looked it up. Yeah. Okay.
Says he was offered to become independent.
Okay. Maybe that's where I'm confused.
But yeah.
He certainly doesn't behave like one. You know, even a conservative Democrat, he doesn't
that's behave like one. I mean, don't they have like certain rules for their party Like, you have to, at least back us once a year.
I don't know about that, but you need to at least, be on board with the message, and that's clean energy. That's all kinds of things like that,
I mean, I could see not be, picking one or two and saying, yeah, I'm not really behind this, but those two are picking everything.
Pretty much. It's really making it very difficult for us to pass anything because of that. And that's just, again, we're stalled again. We're almost just not quite there. Not enough of the cards are in place for us to do what we need to friggin' do. Okay. But it doesn't help that Biden isn't. I really hope he doesn't run again. I just hope that something happens. Maybe COVID tells him he needs to retire. He did what he set out to do. Now let's put some.
Well, that was one of my questions. Is if he's got COVID.
He's still running the country from his home or whatever. Probably Camp David, I would imagine, but I don't know. He's at another location now, still working.
What is the possibility that he decides he can't do it and bumps up Kamala Harris to president?
Look where he's at. I don't know about that.
I mean,
yeah. If he becomes sick, where he's too sick to, function, then 25th Amendment will be put in, and she'd be temporarily president. That's her purpose. That's her job.
Right. Do you feel that at any point up till now they should have invoked the 25th Amendment on Biden?
No, he's making some decisions I don't agree with for sure, but he's doing better than fucking Trump. I'm not worried about him pushing the button because he thinks it's something else.
Yeah, his Diet Pepsi.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, I mean, do I like what he's doing right now? No, not really. No, there's a lot of things I'm not happy with. But
what do you think of this gun bill that passed in the House?
I'm not aware of a lot of it. But I think what they've done so far is they've upped the age to 21 and background checks, and they're closing loopholes on the game shows and stuff like that, and making it where if I sell a weapon to you, we have to have, I have to treat you just like I would if I were a business in that respect, a background check and so on, to make sure you're allowed to have the weapon, which I think is reasonable.
I believe they also closed the boyfriend loophole.
Yes, that's right. I heard that today in the radio. Yeah,
and
that's right.
And
I'm good. That's good too.
And included a lot for mental health.
And there's red flag laws too.
Right, and included a lot for mental health.
For mental health, yes. Now, you can reapply in I think it's 5 years or something
5 years,
like that. And you can, as long as you are cleared by a doctor, then you can get your privilege back, which I think is reasonable.
Now, it passed the House with some Republican support.
Yeah, 47 Republicans voted for it.
Still not bad.
That's better than it's been. We have to do something, man. We got to do something.
The question is, do you think it'll pass in the Senate?
I don't know. It depends if they filibuster it, which they probably will. But the consensus I'm getting from, is that they should probably have 10 Republicans in case it's filibustered. They might have just enough to pass it. That would be good. It'd be something. We have to have something.
Well, they're going to need
doing
12,
nothing right now isn't working.
They're going to need, well, as I say, do they need 12 because of Manchin and Sinema, or?
I don't know. I'm not sure how. I haven't heard how they're going to vote. I bet you they would probably vote for this because it's not a ban. It's not a ban on anything. It's just, at 21 years old to get a high-power rifle that cops are scared shitless of, clearly, and with good reason. It's a powerful fucking weapon. Yeah.
Well, Mockery Trailer Gray is just gonna not. She's gonna go against it, and so is.
Yeah, but she's a Republican, so isn't Boder.
Yeah.
So I'm not worried about either one of those. Those are two no's we knew anyway. McConnell might vote for it though.
I heard that. I heard
you know,
that he hasn't.
And there's a few others. There's, I bet you that Mormon dude from Utah, whatever, he can. He'll probably vote for it. And Cheney and what's his face, Adam Kinzinger, he'll vote for it probably. I mean, just to name a couple. I'm sure I can think of 6 more. Give me time.
Trump running for office?
I don't know. I keep hearing both sides of that. I hear that, yes, he's running, and is he running or not? So, I don't know. In a way, right now, I kind of do hope that he puts his name in the hat, because I don't think he can win at this point. There's enough momentum that with even of some of the diehard Republicans that this guy just is not good for the country. You know, where they're not MAGAs, they're not, you know, the core part of his base, and his base is not strong enough to win the vote. So that would just mean that we would get 4 more years of somebody else in office.
A lot of what I'm hearing is that he wants to run to avoid
prison. Mm-hmm. Yep, he wants to do that. Because they're saying because of the of what the AG said is that that if you're going to investigate someone running as a candidate, it has to go by him first. It doesn't mean that they're not going to investigate or anything like that. It just means that the authority has to go through him. Well, that's all that means.
He was at a rally in one of the A states, Arizona, Alabama, Arkansas.
Sure, right. Not here. I would have heard about it.
And he was supporting somebody else, boosting somebody else for something. Mm-hmm. And he took the stage and basically said it's a travesty that the president is using law enforcement to go after his political opponents.
Right. Oh yeah, if he gets in office, dude, he's going to definitely attack. He's under investigation now too for using the IRS to investigate his political enemies. So the IRS is under investigation.
Didn't Trump do that?
Mm-hmm. But they're investigating the IRS for it. He had to tell someone to do it.
Didn't he go to the DOJ and everybody else and say, I need dirt on Hunter Biden?
Yeah, but how many of these places complied with his instructions or his ask?
Whether they complied or not, he's saying that it's immoral for the president to use law enforcement against their political opponents.
Unethical? Yes. And probably illegal?
Yet he went and did it before anyone else.
Well, we just need people to say, yes, he said that to me. He asked me and I said no, but he asked. We need that. That's what we need.
I mean, do you think that right now, with everything they have from the January 6th hearing, that there's enough material for them to pass a no confidence or something to the effect of we can't have him run for any office ever again?
Oh yeah, yes, and I'm hearing that in congressional circles too. Yeah, definitely. You know,
do you think that'll happen?
I think that while the DOJ is doing their thing, I think what you're talking about would be separate, and perhaps Congress could even do that. A similar thing, what they did with Marjorie Taylor Greene, let's say. A similar situation where they pursued that, because he had already been twice impeached. You know, that alone, that information from those trials should be enough to go after for, hey, this guy can't do this no more. You know, he was. There's enough evidence that he proved that he led an insurrection. Insurrection is an automatic disqualifier for running for office. Whether he's convicted. No, we'd have to be convicted of that.
I just worry that you know, they're going to say we have the evidence, we have all this proof, but we're not going to pursue it.
No, I think they'll pursue it.
You know, just like Bannon. Bannon was found guilty.
Yeah, but now they're going to pursue with the sentencing phase. He's going to get sentenced.
Do you think he's going to get sentenced, or do you think they're going to go?
Yes, there's a minimum. There's a minimum of 30 days, but if he does them as separate, then he can get a minimum of 60 days.
60
minimum, 2 years max, a year apiece. He's gonna wear an orange jumpsuit or whatever. He will wear one. That's gonna happen.
You sure they won't just give him a fine and say go
no,
home?
Sir. The judge has already indicated. From what I hear of what he had to say, I'm pretty sure that he's gonna do what the law says. If the law says there's a minimum, if the law says that he's allowed to stack or make them concurrent, he's gonna do whatever it suggests. I would say that he would spend a minimum of 30 days. A minimum of 30. He should do 60 as a minimum, though, I think.
Is this judge a Trump judge or no? A Trump appointed judge?
I think he is, actually. But so far, he's not putting up with any of his bullshit. None. None of his games, none of his antics, because there's no constitutional merit for it. And that's what this guy's doing. Because imagine the judge going ahead and dismissing everything or whatever, otherwise finding him not guilty, even though, because he can overturn the guilty verdict. He doesn't have to believe in that. So if he does all that, I don't think it's going to look good for him as a judge from then on out. It's going to tarnish his everything. There's going to be no confidence in that judge. So I don't know. Maybe that would be grounds to impeach the judge. From what I've seen, look, he most of his cases, the 61 whatever that he did for the election, he lost all of those, and most of them went through a Trump-appointed judge. So I don't think this because of the evidence. The evidence is just
overwhelming.
He has no defense. There's zero defense. It's indefensible. He has no excuse. It's not even like he can lie and say his dog ate it. It's not there. So the judge's hands are tied. And I think it's reasonable for the judge, if he is sympathetic to Bannon, he'll just give him the minimums. But if it's federal prisons can be pretty nice. There's some nice federal prisons, and that's probably what's going to happen if he does go. But nonetheless, he's going to be in some form of prison. Huh?
Well, I was going to say, I just remembered that I saw a clip today. Apparently, Melania had said that she knew nothing about the riots that were going on.
I caught a headline of that too.
She wasn't by a television. She wasn't by a radio. She wasn't by a computer. She was busy taking pictures of rugs in the White House and didn't know there was a riot on because the outgoing first lady has to catalog everything in the house before they leave, which is a blatant lie. They have a curator who does that.
Right.
But she said she was too busy photographing rugs to notice that people were attacking the Capitol on that day.
Yeah, I wouldn't trust either one of them if they told me the sky was blue.
I always pictured her as an idiot.
I don't know about an idiot. No, I mean, all respect. I think she's at least more educated than that. I've heard a few recorded conversations of her and things like that. She's definitely has that wealthy attitude of, some of the things that comes out of her mouth that if I said out in public, I'd be like, oh, I can't believe you said that. But there's normal conversation to them up above the clouds of us.
The entitlement.
Yes, perfectly. Yes, you're right. The entitlement. That's what I was looking for. You're right. They all do. They all have it. So money does to you.
Oh, correct.
I guess I wish I could know for myself, I suppose. But
there's one other thing I want to go over before we switch gears, and that is, do you hear about that woman in Texas?
Narrow it down.
Miscarriage?
Probably not. Then. It doesn't sound familiar to me.
Well,
hey, my son got here a couple days ago, so I've been busy.
Let me enlighten you. Apparently, there was a married woman who lives in Texas, interracial couple. They have a kid.
You mean at the last 2 weeks or something like that? She had to carry it? Yeah, I did hear about that story. Okay.
She had a miscarriage, and went to the doctor and verified she had a miscarriage. Mm-hmm. Asked the doctor for a D&C, and the doctor said, "Let me talk to the hospital lawyers." and other staff members came back and said, no, I can't do that for you. And she had to carry that baby for another 2 weeks inside her, not living.
Yeah.
Until a doctor would do what they're supposed to do. And that's where we're headed.
We are not heading anywhere. We're here. We're already here. It's happening.
With a dead fetus inside her. And no one's willing to help her. You know, that could literally kill her.
Yeah, it can get toxic, sure.
You know, our
body's starting to decay right inside her, absolutely.
And yet we're supposed to be pro-life, right? So whose life are we pro for?
No,
it's baby just to make
it's only so they can sleep better at night, knowing that they did this. Now, all these guys that were doing this, they can just sleep better at night. It's okay for them now. They can rest easy. It's okay.
I just think that that we need to start drawing lines.
They crossed the line with Roe. That's the line. We have to go back to that.
We have to push that line even further back than it was before, and codify all of the shit and get it done.
Right, because there's a lot of things that aren't strong enough in that. But they're going after marriage and stuff now.
That doctor,
fuck that.
That doctor who attended to that 10-year-old girl.
Yeah,
she's now suing the AG.
I thought it was a male. It's a woman that was the surgeon, the doctor. Yeah, yes. I read a headline too that she was suing. Good for defamation, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with her.
Yeah, me too. Absolutely. For both of them, they both are, if I'm not mistaken. The patient and the doctor are suing.
I don't know if the patient is because they want to remain anonymous.
The patient was on. No, the patient was on. I don't know. Maybe it was a doctor I saw. Yes, or maybe it was. I don't know. There was somebody that answered on behalf of the patient on MSNBC or whatever. Well, then, yeah, I guess it was a representative because it was not a 10-year-old girl. But yeah, I guess that there are things in the works to either have a monetary outcome or something for either defamation or whatever. Actually, well, I'm not going to bother. I was going to look it up, but it doesn't.
No, it is defamation. I know. I remember that fact.
No, I meant whether the person's suing or not. I hope she is, because her name is out in the world. I'm sure these people have her face. They know where she lives and all of that. It's this person's life is going to be influenced from now on. This 10-year-old girl that is innocent in all of this.
Correct.
It's most unfortunate. It's bullshit. It shouldn't be a thing. She should have been able to get the friggin' care she needed. Period.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Because it's not up to them they don't have to carry it. It's not their decision to make. It's easy. It's an easy decision to make if it's not yours to make.
Right.
And then they say, oh yeah, it's God's will. Prove it. Prove that to me. Let's go into a courtroom and you prove to me that is God's will. Prove it. You can't. Because it's on faith. It's nothing tangible. Even if it's written in a book. Okay, so somebody wrote that in a book. That's not proof.
Somebody also wrote in a book that Humpty Dumpty fell off a wall.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. Now unicorns exist and shit.
Show me where proof that the egg was put back together by the king's horses.
Well, the Jewish I'm sorry, now
faith?
I have a main block. Sure, the whole whatever, their religion, for lack of a better, because I know they have a few different things. But anyway, my apologies. I mean no disrespect to anyone. But they're suing the decision of the Supreme Court, I believe, on Roe v. Wade because of how their faith looks at abortion.
That's what,
and in their religion, it's not until God breathes his life or that infant takes its first breath.
Right.
That's when God says you have life.
Right. Correct.
And so that's the best argument I've heard yet. On a religious side that says we need to stay the frig out of it. Some things happen. We don't know everything. We don't know what these people's their individual situations are. We don't know. You can't give a blanket over everybody because everybody's friggin' different. Our situations are different. and
Right.
and you can't just say it definitively for all, because then you take the choice away, and it's not your choice to make for me.
I mean,
Vice versa for women,
I grew up in a Roman Catholic family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too.
And but I don't practice that. And my belief, my personal belief, is that life begins when you can extricate the child from the mother and have that child self-sustain and live on, breathe and heartbeat on its own.
Mm-hmm. When your significant other has a kid, you can make that decision all you want to.
Right. No, if it can't, then it's not, to me, it's not considered alive yet. If it can't, breathe on its own, if it can't have a heartbeat on its own, if it has to rely on the mother for everything, then it's not really alive. It's just part of the mother, like another organ.
Right.
That's my belief. That's my belief.
I'm on the fence. I'm not really sure. I don't think there's really enough data to scientifically prove it beyond a reasonable doubt.
Yeah. Now,
but with that being said, the decision is still not mine to participate in.
Well,
it's not. It's between a patient and a doctor. Period.
I am pro-choice.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I explained this a while back. I was dating a girl who got pregnant. She wanted to abort. I talked to her about it because of the reasons, the logic she was using and whatnot, and we opted not to. Right?
But that's different too.
That was a decision we both made together.
Exactly.
Now, I am pro-choice, but I do not. I don't know how to say this. I believe every woman should have the choice to do what they want with their body, but that doesn't mean that I have to like it.
Oh, of course not. Sure.
So my, and I've told people this before. If you get pregnant, yes, you have the choice to abort, but I also have the choice not to be with you if you go down that road.
Right. Yeah. No, that's fine, because that's a decision you get to make.
That's the way I feel about the whole situation. Is you have your choice, I have mine.
Yep.
Leave us with our choices.
That's exactly it. It's between, yes, that's exactly where the conversation should be. Just like you say. Because she could have easily said no, and then you could have said, well, okay, I'll help you as much as I need for my part, but you go that way, I go this way, and that's it. That's
right.
It. Or whatever. Yeah. But still, again, you had options. In this situation, they're taking away one of the biggest options. A very significant option for people. And for many reasons, not just what you're discussing. You were just talking about a relationship situation when you wanted to start a family. That's the only thing you have. I mean, not that that's little or anything, but it wasn't medical. It wasn't a life and death situation.
Well, it was.
Now that option's taken away from you. That's bullshit.
Her reason was because we're both of the same race. Ethnic background.
Oh, right.
And we both carry a gene.
Were you Italian?
Yeah. And we both carry a gene that can, if combined correctly, can really mess up a kid.
Oh, wow.
And there was a 50-50 chance that the child would end up messed up. And so she was like, well, if there's a 50-50, well, first it was a 25 to 50% chance. And she said, well, if there's that much of a chance, then I don't want to take that chance. And I said, but what if it's only 25% and the kid's fine, and now you just did that for nothing?
Right.
And we had this discussion because she was afraid that the child would suffer growing up because of the illness. But it turned out that the child was fine.
Cool.
Child, but I believe that she had the right to make the decision. And I could give her my input, but at the end of the day, it's still her decision.
Hang on. I don't know if you hear that or not.
No.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry, I had a phone call.
Oh.
So I missed what you were saying, if you were saying something.
What I said was, we discussed it together. She opted not to. that was her decision. I gave her my opinion on what I and my thoughts, but at the end of the day, the final decision is up to her. It's her body.
Right.
You know? Now, we're just two old men sitting here talking, like Congress.
Right.
All right. So we really don't have much to say about it because we're smart enough to know we don't have much to say about it.
Right.
But speaking of old men and a lot to say, I have to switch gears right now. How familiar are you with the world of professional wrestling?
Oh, very little. From the old days, I know a few things, but nothing very modern.
Let me give you a little background.
Sure, go ahead.
The WWE was started as a low-level promotion by Roderick McMahon.
Yeah.
Back in the late 1800s, early 1900s.
Right.
Eventually, Roderick retired and handed the business off to his son, Vincent James McMahon, who later turned it into the WWF, the Worldwide Wrestling Federation.
Right, exactly.
Then, when he went to retire, he basically sold the business to his son, Vincent Kennedy McMahon.
Right.
So it has been in the family for over 100 years. And their connection with Madison Square Garden has been about 100 years old through their family.
Oh, wow.
Now, Vince Jr. took professional wrestling way past where it was. It used to be a territorial thing.
Right. I remember stuff like that.
Upper New York versus New York City, and you'd have Vermont wrestling and whatnot. Vince McMahon bought a bunch of those, put them together, and started televising things on TNT. It was called I believe it was called Wrestling Prime or Prime Wrestling, something to that effect.
Mm-hmm.
He started the whole cable, countrywide broadcasting of wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
He came up with Rockin' Wrestling, which incorporated MTV with wrestling.
Right, yeah. I know a little. I'm familiar with it. Yeah,
with Cyndi Lauper and Dave Wolf and all them.
Right.
And he brought that through the 80s with Hulk Hogan into the 90s.
Hogan, yeah.
Steve Austin and The Rock and all them, and Triple H.
Hence the video games, yeah.
He has been in control of the WWE since the early to mid 80s.
Sure, yeah, okay, makes sense. Yeah.
Monday Night
Raw. And he just got fired or something, didn't he? Because of some improprieties.
Oh, hold on. Monday Night Raw is the longest running episodic show on television.
Right.
And he was the CEO of the company Titan.
Yeah, he founded that, right?
Entertainment. Correct.
Yeah.
That owned that. Now, he fell into some controversy with some extramarital affairs that he paid hush money to with his own money.
Yep.
But he had given one girl doubled her salary while they were in their affair. So he lost the confidence of the board.
Right. So, yeah, I heard that. Yep.
So he stepped down.
Mm-hmm. And that was recently.
Yes, his daughter stepped in as interim CEO. Now you're all caught up. The man himself, Vincent Kennedy McMahon, founder of the WWE, is currently worth $2.4 billion. And he's also a majority shareholder in the company. I believe he owns like 80%.
Oh, wow. So he's got controlling stock, but he's just not running it anymore.
Correct. Now,
like he can sell his shares and things like that.
He stepped down from the CEO position, but he's
still making money.
He took over the creative department, and I believe talent relations. But his son-in-law Triple H, Paul Levesque.
No, I don't know that.
Hunter
Anyway, go ahead.
He had gotten, if I remember correctly, he had a heart attack, and so he had to remove himself from the business.
Okay.
When all this stuff happened, and his wife Stephanie, Vince's daughter, stepped in as interim CEO, he came back.
Okay.
He's not wrestling now. Now he's the head of talent relations.
Right.
Okay, so now you're almost all caught up.
Sure.
Almost. A gentleman who was involved in the scandal with Vince.
Not much of a gentleman then, eh?
By the name of John Laurinaitis.
That's a name.
Also had to step down. And
Okay.
he's out of the company.
Ah.
Vince was still, rewriting shows and doing all that stuff. Well, now you're all caught up. Here's the bombshell.
Boom.
Vincent Kennedy McMahon,
Okay.
the owner of the WWE for generations and for decades, has retired last night. He is no longer going to have anything to do with professional wrestling. He retired at the age of 76.
Ed McMahon or McMahon, whatever.
Vince McMahon.
Vince
Gone.
McMahon, yeah. Wow.
His daughter made the announcement on their show SmackDown at the very beginning of the show.
And he's like still walking around and breathing and stuff?
He's still walking
He's
around
not
and
dead?
breathing. No,
Does he still keep his shares?
Yeah,
What about his shares?
He owns
Oh,
them.
so yeah, because I thought he was going to be forced to resign anyway.
No,
He was going to have to step down no matter what.
They could have made him step down from the CEO, but they couldn't throw him out of the company itself.
Oh, yeah. So he left the company. He left all decisions of the company. He's no longer in it. He's only in it now for the money.
That's correct.
Only
he
money
wants to
now.
sit at home and do nothing.
Collect a gajillion-dollar check, yeah.
But
Yeah,
here's
whatever,
the problem.
okay. So he
Everybody
doesn't have to do
who's
anything
followed-
anymore.
Well, everyone who's followed wrestling has said for the past 2 decades that he needs to retire. His thought process is old and outdated.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Not that I know much of it anyway, but
he was dragging the show down, and a lot of people left because of it. Now we have the opportunity where he's gone, and everybody is scared and confused as to what this holds for the future of the company and where it's going to go, because his family has been pulling the strings for so long now.
yeah, but I don't think it'd be very difficult to continue the brand, So end the Raw and start something else. Create something else if you don't want to continue the Raw. Allow it to end and show it to your fans as an ending.
I don't think that they want to end it Raw. I think that the problem is Vince, even though he had really bad ideas, he also came up with some great ideas. And he pushed the right people. He pushed John Cena. He pushed The Rock. He pushed Brock Lesnar. He pushed Stone Cold. Gave them the push that they needed to become superstars because he saw what he needed to see in them. Without that kind of expertise, who knows what's going to happen next?
Yeah, but he's out there, dude. He's not down here with the rest of us in many ways.
Part of my problem is he's 76 years old. He had an affair with a woman 2 years ago. Okay?
He's got stock in Viagra. Yay!
He's still married to Linda McMahon, who is don't kill me for this, staunch Trump supporter and was on Trump's cabinet.
No surprise there.
Trump also made appearances on WWE Wrestling and is in the WWE Wrestling Hall of Fame. But the question now goes to The Undertaker has gone. Stone Cold,
Right.
Steve Austin, The Rock, they're all retired. Cena's done.
A couple of them are dead.
Quite a few. Where does the future of the company lie? Not just Raw, but the entire wrestling company, the WWE Worldwide Entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
Where does the future of this company lie. It used to be the biggest employee of professional wrestlers in the country.
Oh, that's something to think about too. I didn't really consider that, but yeah, I'm sure they're gonna. Dude, they're a big enough organization. There's no reason why they can't continue it or change it to something else.
The highest paying professional wrestling company. You could go with the AEW, or you can go with Impact Wrestling. You're not going to get nearly the same amount as you would with the WWE.
Right.
It was a catch-22. You had to put up with his perviness, his tantrums and whatnot, but the money was really good.
Right.
The person. It was announced that because he completely retired from the company, his daughter is no longer the interim CEO. She is now the vice CEO with a guy that Vince hired 2.5 years ago. Vince hired a guy 2.5 years ago who has made all these changes and fired all these people.
Hang on a second. Who's here?
Me.
Oh, I thought I saw someone else. I'm sorry, go ahead.
He, the guy that he hired, Nick Khan, came in, and the first thing he started doing is clearing all the wrestlers out.
Okay.
They fired over 100 wrestlers in those 2 years. Some of them were fired unceremoniously, and what I mean by that is all their stuff that was in the locker room or in the offices or whatever was all thrown into a garbage bag, put in a box, and sent to them.
Well, okay, that's weird.
And when they opened up the garbage bag, half the stuff wasn't even theirs anyway. Boots from somebody else and so forth. I mean, they didn't care. They just, get out. We don't want you here. Under the guise of budget cutbacks.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem with that is WWE has had record earnings for the past 2 years. The WWE has had record earnings for the past 2 years, yet they're firing everybody and saying it's for budget cutbacks.
That almost sounds dirty.
Right. And now that this guy who did all this, he's now the vice CEO of the company. So you have to wonder if he did all this when he first came in and he tried to basically scuttle the company. What's going to happen now? Now that he actually is in charge.
I wouldn't even know where to guess on that.
So this could potentially really throw the world of professional wrestling or sports entertainment upside down. If you get rid of the biggest employer, and start turning it into your own money-making machine, other companies are going to take advantage of that. They're going to swipe up the people that are leaving in droves, and your company's going to be left with, independent guys.
Right.
Guys who are making, $50 a night in New Jersey wrestling, 3 times a week. As opposed to people who have come down through a bloodline like Roman Reigns and the Usos, or Randy Orton, his dad and his grandfather, or Bray Wyatt, his dad and his uncle, if and Kurt Hennig and his son, and his father. You're not going to have those people staying loyal like that.
Right.
So where is that going to leave professional wrestling in the future? I don't know. When the news came out, Brock Lesnar, who is one of the biggest stars in WWE, I know you've heard the name. He was an MMA fighter as well.
I'm not sure. I have to think about it. I don't follow really any of that at all.
He is the highest. He's the highest paid wrestler, professional wrestler, and he has what they call a Legends contract. He only does like X amount of shows a year, only shows up on Raw X amount of times a year, and anything above that, they have to pay him millions of dollars. When he heard the news last night that Vince retired, he walked out of the show.
Oh, wow. He walked out?
Yeah. He walked out and he said, if he's gone, I'm gone.
Alrighty then.
He's supposed to be in a pay-per-view next weekend with the Universal, the undisputed Universal WWE champion, which is both, you know, this is the top guy. He's got both belts, the Universal title and the WWE title. And he was supposed to be in a last man standing match on next Saturday. And he walked out of the company. Now, he did show up at the end of the show. They said they were able to reach an agreement for him to stay for the rest of last night's show. But that does not mean he's going to show up for the pay-per-view.
It's in there. It's in the bottom if you want alcohol.
Where's mine?
Yeah, right. This? No, I'm talking isopropyl. I don't think you want that.
Oh, yeah, man.
Yeah.
So
you're welcome to it, though. Hey, on the rocks with a little lemon twist.
Yeah. So he's supposed to be in a championship match, last man standing match Saturday, and they barely had him in. He showed up. He was supposed to be on the show all night last night. They had him on for the last, I would say, minute and a half. He came back and said, "I'll finish the show, but that's it." So the question is, what are they going to do with the pay-per-view? What are they going to do with the championships? What, you know, the whole
I don't know what to put it in, man.
The whole image, the whole wrestling showcase is in jeopardy. All because Vince McMahon stepped down at 76 years old. Your thoughts?
I don't know enough about it to really offer an opinion. I don't know much about McMahon except for when he was a little guy. I don't know. I don't really. The WWE to me is fake. I don't know. They're getting money for something that doesn't exist, and yeah. And I don't know. I don't have a lot of positive things to say about WWE. I never followed it really. I remember when it started around Albany and stuff like that. Yeah, my roommates here talking about Vince McMahon. And maybe now that he's gone, maybe they can make, in my opinion, something more with it. Do something else with it.
He's gone.
Yeah, he's gone.
Well, he stepped down. He didn't die.
No, he's not dead. He just stepped down. Thanks for that clarification. Yeah. He has not ceased to be. But yeah, I mean, maybe they could do something else with it. But it sounds like to me, with what you're saying, they're just getting more corruption. So the corruption went from one place to another. It's still corrupt. Fuck them. You know, they deserve to die. If that's, I mean, the WWE needs to end if that's the case.
I know,
but that's corruption money. You're just screwing over your fans. They're the ones that suffer.
You're right.
You know,
you're right. And
the
only way I could see it surviving is if
can you get him
Vince's 3 children, while his 2 children and his son-in-law actually physically take over the company.
I mean, I don't know. Are they respectful? Are they corrupt too? Or I don't know.
No.
Background is.
The background is his son-in-law was one of the best wrestlers in the world. And he went through the system from bottom up, including marrying Vince's daughter, because they got a relationship. But he continued to wrestle and continued to be the best. And then when he was ready, he stepped down and became the chief operations officer for the company and learned his way through that. And then he became the head of the VP of talent relations. So he's worked in as many aspects of the business as he can, and he has a great respect for the business. and so does his wife. His son, on the other hand, Shane McMahon, he's been in and out of the company because of problems he's had with his dad and problems with his ego and so forth. But I think him and his sister and Triple H, if they came together as a unit, they could make something great out of it. But if this guy Nick Khan gets his grubby little fingers on it, I have a feeling that it's all going to go to shit real fast.
And from what you're kind of telling me, it seems like it's leaning towards it's not going to wind up being a good thing at the end.
And with that happening, you're going to find a lot of people unemployed. You have no idea how many people that
the upper part of the company, they're all going to be wealthy, and it's bullshit. They should suffer too, you know. And that's what's going to happen. Is the lower people that make everything happen are going to get fucked, and the ones at the top are going to be okay.
Now, if this had happened at a regular company where the CEO stepped down or retired,
the widgets would still be made.
Right.
The company would still run. They would just put somebody else in that spot. Carry on.
Right. The problem is when you have an entertainment field like this, when the CEO steps down, the next CEO steps in, can decide, I don't like the way the widgets are made.
Oh, yeah.
I want to make them
red.
Different way.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, the red widgets fall apart. And the red widgets start breaking. You know,
but people keep buying them because they like the old ones. They'll do that for a little while. They'll be loyal. But I tell you, they have an opportunity to do something, but we'll see. You know?
You know, I hope you're right. Because like I said, this company has been around well over 100 years in one form or another.
Sure. Yeah. Sure it has.
You know, and it would be a shame to see any company that, and I hate to say this, but that makes people happy. And that's what they do. They're in the business of making their viewers happy to want to come back, to give them an escape for a little while from their shitty life.
True.
You know,
true.
and
but
so
maybe they need to be advertising it as such too.
Well, they started doing that.
You know?
They started doing that on Monday when they opened the show with a guy named Titus O'Neil, who was the global ambassador for the WWE. He's a former wrestler. And he said, you know, our main goal is to put smiles on all your faces. And if we're doing that, we're doing our job.
Right.
You know, and I'm just worried that the point's going to come where it's not going to be smiles. It's more going to, or less going to be, I could care less whether one way or the other.
Right.
You know,
well, they charge a lot for a damn ticket. They better make it worthwhile.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, no, I know. They charge
for those major
concerts are even ridiculously expensive as well.
Those major pay-per-views, you could pay up to upwards of $500.
Yeah, I don't think so. That's not.
But you know, and they make a shit ton of merchandise. But I'm just worried that there's going to be a flood of wrestlers unemployed, and no one, you know, there's not going to be enough slots in the remaining companies to pick them all up.
Right.
And now you're going to have a real problem on your hands, because you're talking, you know, hundreds and hundreds of people.
Right.
You know, from wrestlers to producers to you know, to cameramen, the announcers, the whole production crew, the guys who put up the ring. Everybody's, you know, you can't. There's not going to be enough slots for everybody out in the job market.
Right. That's true.
And you know, that's one of my big concerns is, you know, this is all these guys know. Some of them started at 16 years old. Yeah,
I bet.
You know, some of them were raised like Roman Reigns was raised from when he was little. His uncles, Alpha and Sika, the two Samoans, they trained him from when he was, you know, a little kid. You know, and that's all he knows. Yeah, he played football in college.
Right.
But his body is so beat up now, there's no way he could play football anymore.
Right.
So what does he have left after he gets out? You know? And it's a problem with a lot of these guys. And you know, not a lot is being said about Vince McMahon's affairs and the scandal and this, that, without looking at the long-term ramifications of what could happen to this company.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where last night when it was announced, several of the wrestling channels that I watch on YouTube had 1 to 2 hour live videos about Vince McMahon quitting. Nobody mentioned what it could do to the current staff at, you know, in the long run. And I think that's a big injustice to all of them that have put their asses through hell just to make people smile.
Right. That's cool.
I mean, they went over to Saudi Arabia, you know, before the pandemic, and they were the first sports.
You all right?
There was first sports company to have women perform in Saudi Arabia.
Mm-hmm.
They had a women's match. Now the women had to be clothed all the way down to their wrists and shit.
Right.
But they were the first company to do that. These guys have done so much, and they've been all over. And to see something like that come to a halt is really troubling. I'm not going to say it's upsetting or sad. It's troubling because...
Yeah, that's economics.
Yeah. Well, Matt, before we go, because we have to go.
Yeah, no, I got company.
No way. Are you kidding? You have company?
So they find her?
No, they did not. They're still pressing the stepmother because they know that she's hiding information, and they upped her charges to felonies instead of instead of state case. I believe it's instead of a local case, it's a state case now because of the food stamp and welfare fraud.
Wow.
So, yeah. So, with that being said, nuts. My friend, it is unbearably hot out.
Yeah, I've been trying not to go outside. It's over 100 today.
And
yep, it's been like that for several days, but it's been like 68 at night, which is very strange.
Oh, it's gotten to like 72 here at night. And I only have one room that really has an air conditioner, and this is not it. So
wow.
hence the dry throat and the sweat.
No, I'm pretty good. I've also got the shade of a huge tree in my backyard too.
Oh yeah, no, I have
so
the
that
shade
helps
of
cool
nothing.
My house.
Does it?
Yeah, I know. I've been to your place. I know exactly where you're at.
So, with that being said, I really have to cut this short because I need to get in the coolness.
Gotcha.
So let me take us out of here. Don't forget, comment, share, and subscribe, and catch us next week. We're out of here.